Over the last 6 videos that I've posted on my YouTube channel, I have been getting you prepared for one very specific thing that we needed to see happen in the crypto market in order for us to stop a massive crash from happening for Bitcoin and altcoins. We talked about it 7 days ago, 6 days ago, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 day ago. We talked about it in our last 3 live streams. I mean, we have been focused on this one specific thing like a hawk. And in today's video, I am very, very happy to announce that that thing that we have been looking for has now officially happened. It has saved us from a massive crash that could have impacted every single one of us. And I believe that the crypto market is in a much better spot right now than it's been in weeks. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that thing is that happened, why it was so dang on important, and exactly what you need to be on the lookout for right now as we prepare for what comes next. So today we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about a little XRP, a little bit of XLM. So if you do enjoy all of the content we've been posting here on the channel for the last couple of weeks, don't forget to smash that like button and let's go ahead and let's get into it. So the first thing, Tyler, what in the world is this big thing that you are talking about? What's this big deal? And what we've been talking about is what has been happening with the Bitcoin price. Now, if you've watched my last couple of videos, you know everything I'm about to say for the next 2 minutes, but it's always good to recap. So over the last couple of weeks, what we paid very close attention to was this pullback for Bitcoin's price through the bottom side of the descending channel. What I told you all was that if Bitcoin's price loses the bottom side of the descending channel, I thought Bitcoin was going to crash all the way back towards $103,000, pulling the altcoin market down anywhere from 15 to 25%. This means, that this would have meant, honestly, 35% corrections for your top 400 to 500 cryptos, 25% corrections from your 200s to your 400s. I mean, it would have been pretty ugly for all of our crypto portfolios. And so I told you, as we started to see Bitcoin's price pull back, like, hey, watch this pullback incredibly closely, because if Bitcoin, again, loses support here and it can't recover back in here, guys, that's not good. And we need to start preparing for some really, really ugly markets. But I told you, there are support levels that I believe can hold Bitcoin's price up and push it back in this channel, even if it does start to pull back to the downside. So watch them closely. And we laid them out for you. We laid out the previous point of resistance. We laid out 109, 106, and $103,000 as the key levels of support that would try to push Bitcoin's price back towards this ascending channel. And we took a bet on it. I said, guys, I'm betting on the reversal. That's the words I used. I said, I'm betting on the reversal. I'm betting that Bitcoin's price will hit one of these support levels and bounce back up into the zone. So what did we do? We did a bunch of big purchases right here. We did a bunch of big leverage long trades right here. Now, actually, it was a bit of a smaller leverage long trade right here. And we did bet on that reversal here at 112. And well, what do you know? Bitcoin's price pushed back into the channel, giving us the move we were looking for. We made a beautiful scalp trade right here. And we, of course, generated some unrealized gains as Bitcoin's price pushed up. Now, as Bitcoin's price pushed back into the top side of this channel, back towards the 50% line, this blue line, I told you all what was next. I said the next thing from here is to watch the pullback. The pullback's going to tell you everything you need to know. If Bitcoin's price can pull back and set a higher low, guys, we're in a good spot. We're probably going to start to see Bitcoin push back towards the top side of this black channel. But if Bitcoin's price pulls back to the downside, well, that would mean that this is some sort of three-wave move downwards, and that ain't good. Bitcoin's headed towards the low 100,000s. Well, what do you know? Bitcoin's price comes back down. It finds that golden level of support exactly as we expected. And Bitcoin found that support and use that support to push back towards the upside. As Bitcoin started to rally, I told you all, listen, this is what happens next. The next move from here is we need to see Bitcoin's price break through this 50% line. If it can break this 50% line, it opens up the door for Bitcoin to push back towards the top side of the channel. It confirms that this was just a fake out, and we no longer have to worry about Bitcoin's price crashing down to $103,000, at least in the short term. And what do you know, baby? Over the last 24 hours, if we go to the daily candles, Bitcoin has now officially broken through the 50% threshold, opening up the door towards the upside, pumping Bitcoin's price all the way up towards $117,000, giving us the gains on the moves that we purchased back down here that we were looking for, giving us the clarification that this was indeed just a fake out, and canceling the likelihood that Bitcoin would just start crashing straight to $103,000, at least for the short term. We read Bitcoin like a book. We bought twice here, took profits here, played this move perfectly while most people were panicking. And I don't say that to brag. I say that to show that while we stuck to our strategies and our guns, we absolutely smashed it. And now Bitcoin is in a position that I believe is absolutely fantastic. And so what we're going to do now that you have the recap and you know exactly what just happened, which is Bitcoin's price breaking this 50% threshold, giving us these gains to the upside that we were looking for, canceling out this breakout, causing it to now be a fake out. Let's talk about exactly what my next plans are and exactly what I am expecting next. Now, before we get into it, guys, do not forget that if you want to trade any of this Bitcoin, XRP, XLM, ETH, and many more, you can check out that link to BTCC down below. Guys, if you sign up specifically with my link, you're going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses and lower trading fees, which is an absolutely massive deal, especially here on YouTube. This is where I do the vast majority of my trading. So feel free to go check it out with that link down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have been enjoying the content. So what's next? That's the big question that everybody has. What's next? So let's focus in on Bitcoin. Then I'm going to shift over to the altcoin market because we're seeing some beautiful stuff here from the altcoin market as well. So with Bitcoin, I'm not going to lie, guys, things are going to get a little bit more boring. Okay. So we had all this excitement. We had this big crash. Then we had the big recovery. Then we had this nail biting moment right here. And then we broke to the upside and we had this trade and we had that trade and this take profit and that take profit. And it was super exciting. And although that was fun, the truth is now is the time where things are going to get a little bit more boring. Now, the reason why things are going to get a little bit more boring is because now Bitcoin has just re-entered back into the strategy, the descending channel. Bitcoin has now just recreated itself. It's put itself right back in where we were, right back here. So the strategy remains the same. And so now that Bitcoin's price has re-entered the blank zone, canceled this out, generated this to be a fake out, and now started to alleviate some of the worries we had of some sort of big crash happening, what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to watch this bad boy as if it's just in the descending structure. We can almost pretend like this never happened now. Okay, we can almost pretend like this never happened. And if this never happened, what would we do? Well, we would implement our descending channel strategy. What is that? Well, I'm going to tell you now. So the descending channel strategy is one of the most simple but effective strategies I've ever used. I've used it for years. I've generated tens of thousands of dollars from it, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit now from just this strategy on Bitcoin alone. Okay, and I'm talking realized gains. So how does it work? Very simple. What you do is you locate three linear points of resistance, boom, okay, and you try to locate 2 or 3 linear points of support that equal or that are in alignment with these resistance points. So what I mean by that is I noticed 1, I noticed 2, I noticed 3, right? They created this line. I then drew this line down using my parallel channel to see if it connected to any or multiple points of support, and it did, right? We had 1, we had 2, we had 3. So now we, of course, have a confirmed descending channel, and we noticed this way back here, okay? So knowing that we now have a descending channel, what I do is I then go in and I break this channel down into pieces. And look, you know what? Let me just show you how I do this. I know this might be a little bit redundant for any of you who watch my channel a good bit, but I'm sorry. It's always good to get that catch up, right? So what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll draw that resistance point through my resistance, and then I'm going to try to connect it to my support points, as you can see here. And let me go ahead and just drop that bad boy down just a little bit, just like that, okay? And this very first one, I'm going to go in and I'm going to make it black. Boom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this parallel channel tool again, and you see this 50% dotted line right here. I'm actually going to draw another parallel channel on that dotted line, which gives me, of course, this bottom half right here. And now I also have a bottom quadrant. So now I have the descending channel, I have the 50% line, and now I also have the 25% line because I have 50% of the bottom half, which of course is 25, gives me a bit of a quadrant there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to draw one more parallel channel on that bottom dotted line down here, and I'm going to drag this bad boy down, and I'm going to make this one light green like so. And then I'm going to go in, I'm going to click this bottom half, and I'm going to make this one dark green. And so what you'll now start to see, let's go ahead and up that a little bit. And you know what, there we go. Boom. So now what you'll see is we have the descending parallel channel. We have the top 50%, the 50% to 25%, the 25% to 0%. And the reason why it's so important to have this laid out is because this then dictates my buys and my sells. If Bitcoin's price falls into the dark green zone, I do a little bit of buying, not much, 50% to 25%. I do a little bit of buying right here. Okay. Let's just do this 50, 25, 0, and 100. Okay. Boom. So 50 to 25, I do a little bit. If we get to the 25% zone, boom, I'll do more buying. And if we hit the 0, I do a lot of buying. And what that looks like is if we get in this dark green box, I do a little bit. If we hit this line, I do more. If we hit the bottom of this, I do a lot. And that's exactly what we did back here. We did the purchases back here. It's what we did back here. We actually did a little bit right here on accident as well. And we actually did it right here and right here as well. Like, that's why all these purchases we've been making recently were like getting bigger the lower Bitcoin's price went, because that's my strategy. I buy a little bit. If we get into the dark green box, I buy more if we hit this line. I buy a lot more if we get into this light green box. And anytime that Bitcoin swings off of these green boxes back into the black zone, I just start taking profits immediately. I start taking profits. I set a stop loss below the 50% line, so I can't lose at that point. The second we enter into this black zone, I cannot lose. I start taking profits. The only way I guess technically I could lose is if somehow it came all the way back down here, lower than my entry prices, but that's unusual. Okay. And so because of that, I'm usually fully exited before it can make a move like that. And so that's my game plan. I buy a lot in the green, light green. I buy a little bit in the dark green. I take profits in the black zone with a stop loss set in the dark green, so I really can't lose. And I'll do it over and over and over and over again until Bitcoin breaks out of this structure. If we head over to, say, my Bitcoin buy sell bubble sheet, you can see it. As Bitcoin's price was coming towards the downside, we did a little bit of buys up here, a lot of purchasing right here. Now Bitcoin's price has rallied. We taken profit. We played the game just as the game is supposed to be played. And we've done this over and over and over again, especially while Bitcoin's price was creating some of these other descending channels in the past. Okay. And so with that in mind, that's my plan. That's my strategy. And look, I know it's boring. I know it's not as exciting. I know there's not all the exciting, big buys and stuff that I'm doing right now, but it's just too risky, right? Opening up big leverage long trades while Bitcoin is in the black zone is simply just too risky, because it is in a channel that guarantees that we slightly go down over time. So buying in the top side of that channel almost guarantees that you're going to lose, or at least generate unrealized losses. And you don't want that, right? You don't want to be setting yourself up to lose. You want to set yourself up to win. And so buying in the black zone is just not a good idea. Longing in the black zone is just not a good idea. I'd rather be longing when it breaks out of this channel, so I know it's not going to for sure go down, right? So for now, no buys, no long trades, nothing. I'm just waiting. Bitcoin will either break to the upside, at which point I'll implement my breakout strategy, which I'll tell you about later on if that happens. Or if Bitcoin's price comes back down, I'll do a little bit of buying, more buying, a lot of buying. Very simple, and I'll do it over and over and over again. It's generated us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gains. And it's pretty reliable. As you can see, even implementing that strategy in this moment when everybody else was freaking out made us a lot of money. So very good stuff there. Now, so that's what Bitcoin did. I mean, again, absolutely massive move for Bitcoin. A huge moment. Canceled this out, made this a fake out, opened up the door of opportunity to continue to try to break out towards the upside. This was a winning day for Bitcoin. This was a winning moment. And even if Bitcoin's price does come back down from here, right? Even if it does pull back to the dark green or the light green, it doesn't matter. And yes, it is possible, right? You go to the 7-day liquidation charts, look at all these liquidations that will occur if Bitcoin's price pulls back. Yeah, so it's very possible. It's very possible for Bitcoin to do that. The thing is, I just don't care. Now we're just playing in a normal game. Now that's just a normal pullback because Bitcoin was able to cancel out this fake out. Okay. So that's Bitcoin. I'll keep you updated as the strategy does continue. But let's take a quick look at what's happening with Total 2 first. And then I'll look at XRP and XLM specifically because they just had a massive day. So what we can see is that Total 2 is getting pretty damn close to making the move that we've been looking for. There's been two things that I told you needed to happen for Total 2. And if you don't know what Total 2 is, it's simply just the market cap of altcoins. Okay. So whenever I talk about Total 2, I'm talking about the altcoin market as a whole. So what I told you about Total 2 is that we wanted to see it get above this orange box right here. I said, if it can get above this orange box, it cancels out the threat of this double top. And it does stop us from having that breakout target all the way back down to 1.28 trillion. And what you can see is that over the last 24 hours, as Bitcoin's price has broken the 50% threshold, Total 2 has now officially broken through the orange box, exactly like we told you guys. I told you, listen, if Bitcoin can break the 50% line, it's going to force Total 2 out from under this orange box. And that's exactly what happened. And so now Total 2 itself, or the altcoin market, has canceled out the breakdown towards 1.28 trillion and has given itself the opportunity to start trying to make some gains to the upside. But there is one thing standing in its way, and that is the Fibonacci golden zone. What we can see is that now that Total 2 has made this recovery, it is still standing within the golden zone, the Fibonacci golden zone between 1.5 and 1.46 trillion, this golden box right here. And what Total 2 needs to do, if we're going to see the altcoin market really rally here and not just get absolutely smoked and rejected back to the downside, we need to see Total 2 being able to break 1.5 trillion. It's absolutely mandatory. While we're below 1.5 trillion, we are consistently at the threat of seeing a bit of a pullback. We are consistently at the threat of seeing the altcoin market correcting. And so you just have to be aware of that. Right now, I still would not be going big on altcoins or rotating too heavily into altcoins, because what we are seeing is still a test, and a massive test at that, because this resistance is going to be hard as hell to get over. So you need to be very careful right now. Set your line on total 2 chart at 1.5 trillion, because while we're below it, we are consistently at the threat of seeing another pullback. But when we get above it, ooh, now that's what opens that door for that move to the upside. That's what gets ETH over 4K. That's what gets XRP back to $4. That's what can make that happen. So watch 1.5 trillion for the altcoin market. Again, we're not in altcoin season or anything like that right now. It is officially actually not altcoin season, right? So I wouldn't be rotating too heavily or buying too heavily into alts. Let's see if total 2 can break 1.5 trillion before making a commitment like that. But I will say we have 2 absolute shiners over the last 24 hours, and that's XRP and that's XLM. And I just wanted to show you what's happening with these ones right now and what you can be watching. So for both XRP and XLM, I told you all I was implementing my descending channel strategy, which was to buy a lot in the green, take profit in the black, buy a lot in the green, take profit in the black. We were able to execute that twice. So we got that first one off here, the second one off there. We generated actually enough profit right here to offset most of the unrealized losses we generated by this pullback. And then now we have that cash available, and now we're in the profit taking zone, right? So what's beautiful about it is that our descending channel strategy worked like a charm, even on XRP. We were able to make money while XRP's price was going down. And now that it's going up, guess what? Our long-term bags are generating unrealized gains until I take profit and make them realized gains. And that's exactly what's happening right now. I am taking a little bit of profit off the table for XRP just because it made this beautiful move. I know it had the settlement. The lawsuit is now officially over. People are excited. Feels good. That could be a bit of a buy the rumor, sell the news event. So because of that, I am going to continue to take some profits off the table. We made money in here. We're making money right here. I mean, what more can you ask for? You just want to make money. And that's exactly what we've been doing for XRP. And the next big thing that I will say is that XRP is also in this golden zone. So if you really want to know what'll kind of push XRP up to those next highs, right? What's going to get XRP over $4 is whether or not it can break 343. If XRP can get above $3.43, it opens up the door for a massive move upwards. I mean, I think the door is open for a move up towards $4.40, to be honest with you, but it just has to get there. And so for XRP, I am taking a little bit of profit off the table. I am leaving the majority of my bag open though, because I do think that once XRP can clear this golden zone, that door upwards is very, very, very possible. So that's what's happening with XRP, and a very similar story for XLM. XLM, we did the same exact strategy. We bought the light green and the dark green. We took profits in the black zone. We made profit during this descending channel. Now XLM's price is broken up, and it's running straight into the golden Fibonacci zone, as you can see now. So for XLM, we need to see it break 48 cents. If it can break 48 cents, the door is wide open for a move up towards what could be 57 cents or even 65 cents. So keep an eye on that. But all in all, I'm very happy with the fact that our strategy worked for XLM and XRP. We're able to generate profit here. We're able to generate profit here as we're taking profits, and the ball continues to roll. So there is still some progress that needs to be made for the total market cap of altcoins, for XRP, for XLM, for Ethereum, even for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin at the end of the day still needs to get above this descending channel. But all in all, we've made some absolutely fantastic gains over the last couple days, last couple weeks. And I think that we could see this crypto market preparing for what could be a really strong move upwards, especially if we do get maybe another pullback to kind of cool down these prices a bit. So I'll keep you updated as this all does play out. But I just wanted to say, for those of you who stuck to it, stuck to your guns, stuck to your strategy, didn't get overwhelmed, didn't get emotional, didn't make big emotional decisions, you stuck to the strategies, you just generated a good bit of profit in a time where most people lost. And I just want to say congratulations to you, because it took me years to get to the point where I was able to do it. And so if you're able to do it as well, it feels fantastic. So of course, I hope you guys have been enjoying the content. And if you have, please, again, do not forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.